Hello, everybody. Sandra with Keeping It Spiritually Simple, and I am thrilled to have my guest back on again today, Julie Severn, and she is just amazing. And we're just going to talk about February's energies and what messages we're getting, and some helpful hints to maybe move us into March. So, welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
How are
Happy
you
to be here
today?
again. Very well, thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're doing well. I think things I feel like February is one of those lions all the way up, and then maybe a little lamb experience in there, just a little reprieve. It's been sleep interesting. It's been visually sight interesting, downloads of messages interesting, having to put up boundaries interesting, and so on and so forth. And I know that you've gotten a lot of information. If you would like to share, I'd love to hear it.
All right. Well, I have received a lot of information about this month, and I've known for a while that we were going to be, this is a war that we're in, it is. And it's a spiritual war, though. That's what people don't understand. This is a war that is dark to light. We are here to bring the light in, and there are many people all over the world who are doing it, working very hard to bring that light in. And I work hard too. I have groups all over that I'm working with, that we are doing a lot of like really powerful work to help heal this planet. And so the stuff that I receive is quite powerful, because it's messages on what it is my next role to fix, to work on something. And I do remote viewing, I do astral travel, I go back in time, I go ahead in time, I can do it all, just working with our groups to bring light and love to this world. So what we're doing is we're deactivating things that are no longer okay, activating pyramids, building obelisks. It's interesting because we went to Machu Picchu and did that, and built an etheric pyramid right over the whole of Machu Picchu. And a friend went there and saw it, could see it. So the work we're doing actually has physicality. And it's just amazing, because I keep going. I wrote just recently about the Bible, because the Bible is going to come into play big time here. It's going to come into play because, and what I've seen for the coming days is also what's going to come into play, because what I've seen for the coming days is that people who do work like me may become vilified to a certain extent. And because, the Bible does talk about how, do not go to the person who does the cards or the psychic work or anything, because they are not light. It's not true, but it's an old biblical thing where you're going to start seeing it. And I noticed the other day, Instagram and Twitter are already starting to saying no tarot cards and no astrology. So there are things that are going to change, not in a positive way. I think it's short term, but it's still going to happen. And the reason being is because there are people who want to find someone to blame, isn't there?
Sure.
And
yeah. Sure. And we already know about the false light and the false light workers. So why not give it to the obvious? Oh, I'm sorry, you got a download from where? Oh, that's got to be evil. That doesn't match our biblical texts, which we all know are distorted anyway. So yes, continue.
I was meditating the other night, and I got this really strong message. The only part of the Bible that really matters is page 1. Because the Bible, the rest of it, you could toss right in the garbage. It's all stories, metaphors, some nasty predictions, probably what they make The Simpsons from. I don't know, but it's just all like that. And so the page 1, and God said, let there be light. And God said, and God said, and it even talks about meat, but not meat. It talks about the meat in the fruit and the meat in the foods. It doesn't recommend meat. So it's interesting. This whole page 1 is the biggest page in the whole Bible, and nobody even gives it any accounting whatsoever. God said, you're God. You said, right? It's all about all of us, each of us owning that piece of God that we are. So that is a very huge message that I feel, because if we can just take all the rest of that Bible and just take them as the stories and the metaphors and the analogies, whatever you want to call them, and then understand that the first page is the most powerful book in the whole, or the most powerful thing in the whole book. because it tells you your power. And nobody told you that. Nobody told you how powerful you really were. But if you read that on page 1 of the Bible, all of our indoctrination gives all the credit to God rather than the credit to the God within, the God that resides within each of us, because each of us is a piece of God. We were built, and it even says on page 1, built in God's image. It's really true, you know? So that part I really found amazing and really awesome, because it gives it so much power if you can understand. You don't need to read the rest of it. You read page 1 and then you follow your instincts from there on. The whole rest of the Bible should have page 1 and be blank, so you could add all your stuff into it. Maybe that'll be the new Bible, hey?
Hey, I think the real stories are going to come out anyway. So at least that's what Yeshua has told me since I was a child.
Yeah.
Since I was a child, I still to this day can't even. I'm not even going to get into it, but it's still it's a thorn in my side, and I just have to accept and release the thorn and just go about my biz.
Yeah. Most of us who were funny kids didn't have a great social life, didn't have great acceptance of people because we were so different. It was really hard for us to be who we were. And I always joke around and I say, I used to get beaten up for being who I am, and now I get paid.
Yeah. That's great.
Well, it's true, because as children, we know everything. We see everything. And, this is the wonder of these new children that are coming in. And these are some of these children that are coming in are going to be very amazing because, okay, for instance, I was working on a pregnant girl the other day. Somebody asked me if I would help with this young lady who was pregnant. She was having some problems, and she was told that the pregnancy should be terminated because the baby wasn't okay. And so I looked at the baby and I started to do healing on the baby around the heart. I could feel around the heart. And then the child stopped me dead. This unborn baby inside this mother's belly. She stopped me dead and she said, "You don't have to worry. I've got this." And I said, "You do?"
Woo!
And oh yeah. She said, "I can heal myself and I am doing it. So before I'm born, I will be a healthy baby. Don't worry. I'm just getting rid of the toxins within her." Interesting, eh?
It is interesting. I used to work with pregnancy, postpartum, and I was a doula as a massage therapist, and I've had some of those experiences. So I also have a daughter that talks to the other side, but that is amazing because now we're going to have more and more of these children coming in to share with us these powers, but we had to come before them. And, in comment to us getting beat up as a child, in our generation, it wasn't cool to be different. It was not cool to be different. You had to find ways that looked like you conformed and fit in, kept your mouth shut until you could breathe different air in a different space. So I could totally relate to you saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I bet you that mother probably felt like her innate instincts to carry forth this pregnancy was probably confirmed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it just gave me, I just got chills everywhere.
It was really nice because I could relate back to the mother after I did that work. I did it when I was in bed that night because I do a lot of my work when I go to bed and I go into a meditation, and I've got people I've got on prayer circles and I've got people I work with every night. And this young lady, I worked with her that night and I looked and I saw, and I got up the next morning and I wrote her and I said, "Your baby is good." I said, "Your baby has power and is healing itself now, and you too." And she was like, "Oh, thank you." And she was so happy because, the thing we don't understand is that power of God that lies within that baby in a huge way. So that baby is using all the power of God within to do what she or he has to do. And then the mother is just going to be the recipient of this healthy baby when it's born because it's done all the work. And it's going to be a very awake baby, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've seen some amazing things. I've helped with pregnancies too, and I've helped people with having babies. I've gone and done the hands-on work to help babies be born, and I love it. I talk to the baby and we get a lot done. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I once had a baby. This young friend of mine was having her baby, and she told me she was gone into labor. I went to the hospital, and when I got there, I knew I had to go. I couldn't sleep all night. I went there right away, 6 o'clock in the morning. When I got there, the doctor was standing there and this nurse, and they said, "We're just prepping for a C-section." And I said, "Let me do something first." So I went over to her stomach and I put my hands on her belly and I talked to the baby. The baby was, rather than being in the birth canal, was way over on the left-hand side in a big U. Have you seen that before?
Yes, I have.
Well, so what I did was I put my hands on that baby over there. I said, "Come on, baby. You need to come home to mama, and you need to go where you belong in the birth canal, and you need to do this right now." And boom. And the nurse and the doctor stood there and watched it. The baby's tummy, or the woman's tummy, went boom like this, boom. And then the baby went right down in the birth canal, and he was born 2 minutes later. And the doctor stood there and went, "Well, now I've seen everything."
That's awesome.
Couldn't believe it. But she was literally in such distress. But it was so wonderful because that baby just listened and got right where he had to go, went right into the birth canal and moved exactly to where he had to go. It was perfect. And it was a stitches free birth. It was a beautiful birth.
Awesome.
So it was awesome. It really was. She did it the second kid too. I had to go for the second one. She did the same thing.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
that's awesome.
Yeah, just amazing. I love helping people have babies. It's one of my favorite things because it's such a beautiful thing. It just is. And, so there's going to be a lot of babies coming, is why I'm talking about this, I think, because we're going to have a baby boom, and there will be some loss on the planet. There's nothing we can do about that. And I know that's going to happen. And I've seen it. I don't think it's going to be as high as initially thought. So because that's going on, one thing I have seen is a baby boom coming, and I'm going to say I see a lot of babies coming. So that's going to heal the world in a huge way, because we will need some new life, new love, new power coming in, because these babies, they're not like the regular babies. I have a granddaughter who's like them. She was 7 months old, walking fully. Some of these babies are going to surprise and shock people because they're going to grow into themselves quicker. They're going to be talking faster. They're going to be relating, understanding. They're going to understand things as newborns. So it's going to be really more interesting how the new babies will come into this world and what they're going to be like, because they're not going to be like anything we've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen that too in my meditation and visions. And over the next, like 6 months to 1 year, there's just going to be a big influx. And a lot of people are going to be freaking out because of parents who have been, and how that is. But I think that's going to surprise us. Yes, some may have some issues, but it's going to be a learning experience for a lot of things. But as we know, we contract before we come through. So, we can't question all things in that way. No. But what we can do is just know that everything is for the highest good, as long as we're staying in that canal, that river, that flow of love and intention.
Yep, absolutely. And I know for a fact that true unconditional love heals all things. So we've got to remember that heart-to-heart connection that can happen between each of us as an individual and the people that we love who have had things happen to them. We can actually help them with our love when they're ready. They're not ready yet, but they will be. And,
yes.
Once we start, I was told that last year that we can heal this with love. And I know that everything can heal with love, because there is love. There's only love. And then there is fear, conditions, hatred, anger, grudges, control, but there's only love. That's it.
Yes. Anything out of love has a very long list of not so fun sliding boards going down.
But it can be,
yeah.
Love can just go right on top of all of it though, and fix it now, change it. I've seen it happen with people. I've seen it,
Yeah.
I've had people come to me for readings who someone said to me one day, oh, she's coming to you for a reading. Oh my God, she's the meanest person you ever met in your life. And I'm like, oh no. Oh goody. This is great. This person's coming to me. And she came to me for the reading, and I just did everything I ever do. And when it was over, she looked at me and she said, tell me, my dear, how is it that you are so full of love and you know so much? And my goodness, I can't believe what I feel from you. I said, well, I just found the peace of God that I am. And she went, oh, that makes sense. It was a beautiful session. And the reason was because you go into it with light. You go into anything you do with light, it heals it. It doesn't hurt it, you know? And so, you know, the best thing to do is to not have a preconceived notion about what anything is going to be either, because that's another, you know, we are seeing this world. I can't wait for my flying car. That's all I care about right now. That's really all I care about.
Yeah.
I want to fly.
I hear you.
But reality is the world is going to change. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to be a while doing this, but we're going to dance. And that's the part. I woke up the other morning. I did a huge bunch of work in my meditation that night, huge. And I woke up the next morning and dancing in my kitchen, 5 o'clock in the morning, singing this song and just dancing to it. I could feel every bit of the music in my body and in my soul, because I knew everything is going to be just great. I could see it and I could feel it. And that is my biggest message today. It's going to be just great. So
It is.
Let's take off the fear and the worry.
Well, I want to elaborate on that, because, you know, I keep getting the same messages about that everything is as it should be. And as long as you can stay in your frequencies, you yourself. Now, can you help others get into that? Absolutely, because we're all here to teach and guide, but we have to be an example of that first. But there's so many people that have a lot of following and have a lot of community there that still want to push that. Oh, make sure you have enough nuts in your cabinet and this, and that. And of course, I'm not saying don't prepare for anything as we should, but if you go along knowing every day that you have enough, you are the droplet of God that you are, and that is everything that you will ever wish that you could just understand that you are, and embrace that.
Yeah.
You'll see things from a whole different perception, that you're going to be okay. Everyone's going to be where they need to be.
I had a very good message the other night about that very thing. I was laying in bed and I was saying to Spirit, you know, because I'm noticing people around me are starting to awaken, because they can't help it. I know there is also a date time stamp on them awakening.
Sure.
There literally is. And so we're in that now. And so that date stamp has gone into play. Those people are having to awaken. So I said to Spirit, can I say anything now? Can I start helping them yet? And I was told, no. And I said, why not? I'd like to help them wake up. I was told, okay, you had your personal awakening. Yes, it was when you were little, but you had yours. Why would you feel that you should interfere with theirs?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I went, but I wasn't trying to interfere with it. I was just trying to disclose some things. And they said, but their personal experience is their personal experience. You cannot try to put anything on top of that, because what they experience in their way is their growth and their path. What we must do is allow and trust and just know that it's going to go the way it is meant to be, into the light, because that is the way it's meant to be. That is where they're going to go. And we just have to trust. And yes, there are some who will leave. Yes, there are. But the numbers are not as big as we thought. And there will be med beds to save too, right? And
sure.
So, and I was also told it doesn't matter how awake they are in the med bed, because a lot of people have been saying the med beds only work if you're really spiritually awake.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit of a crock, isn't it? If you want to be awake, they'll work. If you're not awake,
that's like saying if you have enough money and your money's really good and you earned it really well, therefore you'll receive. You know, it's like, Yeah.
It's
But I
just
want to touch
another,
base. I want to touch base on what you were just saying about not being able to help people. And that was I too came in as you, and I have so many similarities of coming in very awakened and observing and so on. But I was told in a session back in the 90s that I'm always there to help before I should be there to help. Therefore, I don't get thanked and acknowledged for the help because I'm there too fast. And I thought, oh, I kind of am like that. And then, of course, later after my second daughter was born, my husband would say, at the time, would say, you follow her around with the pooper scooper and she hasn't even pooped. So I'm always there ahead of the thing because when you learn something fun and new, you want to share it with other people. Also,
yeah,
when you go down a path and you've hit the bumps and you've done the trip and the falls and all the backstepping, and then you finally get some steps forward, you want to say, hey, you don't need to take those bumps and those lumps and everything. Let me show you a better way. Some people are amenable to that. Other people are going to look at you like you got 20 eyes and get the frick out of their face because they're not ready for that level yet. So
no.
we do have
And
to
I've been
get back.
saying this, I've said this for years. Spirit will give you exactly what you request when you're spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally capable of receiving it. You don't know when that is.
That's right.
You don't know when that is. You have no idea. You just know it's going to happen when you're ready to receive it. So get yourself into readiness to receive it. Get yourself in your healing path. The biggest message that we're getting right now about all of this on a spiritual level and on a self-healing level is heal your triggers right now. Work on any trigger that you've got because we are literally getting hit with them. And if you are triggering, that shows healing is necessary. So don't ever look like a friend of mine came for tea one day and I said something that really ticked her off. And and she didn't even let me know. She left. And the next time she came over for a cup of tea, she said, I'm just going to tell you that you really triggered me that day when I came over for tea. And I was really upset. And I said, good. And she said, that wasn't good.
Heal your triggers. Don't hurt the messenger.
No.
That's what I said.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? I said, it is good. And she said, why is that good? I was so upset. I said, did you work on it? No. I said, okay. Whenever a trigger comes up, any trigger whatsoever, doesn't matter what it is. If somebody says something that just ticks you right off, what is your part of this? Mm-hmm. What do you need to heal about your own self? Because this only comes up when you're spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally capable of paying attention to it. You don't pay attention to it until it shows itself. When it shows itself, that's when you take that action to get rid of it and heal it and forgive yourself and let it go. Because that is how we can truly get ourselves on that path, light and love and never ever. And so what I've noticed is since that's been happening last year was trigger city for me. It was trigger city. I was so mad at everybody, not people that we know and love, but just all the circumstances. I was mad as you cannot believe. And I worked really hard with it. And then suddenly this year, I'm now triggerless and awake and paying attention and understanding everything happens for a reason, right? Just happens for a reason. I just got to go turn that phone off.
Oh, no, you go right ahead.
That's okay.
No, go turn that off.
Yeah. Oh, it's my husband. I've just got to tell him I can't talk.
You forgot you're in a live.
I'm doing a live right now. I can't talk. Okay, he knows I hung up.
Well, I feel like I've done a lot of trigger work too, but what I have had a lot of, and especially I would say in the month of February, is anything that was residual was coming up within memory.
Yes.
And instead of spending one iota or droplet of energy of like, why the heck did that just come up? Where did that come from? I'm like, okay. And I go into it and I go into the feeling of it. And sometimes it may bring a tear. Sometimes it might rev up something. And I do my best to breathe through it. Maybe go take a walk with it for a while to release it. So these triggers are very important and they're coming in many different shapes and sizes.
Yep. I had a trigger 2 months ago, not 2 months ago, just before, well, no, maybe it was just before Christmas. I had a trigger come up, and it was from when I was 17 years old. Something that hurt me really badly when I was 17. And it didn't hurt me so badly that I couldn't function, but it felt like it was one of the last vestiges of my power. And what I did was I went back in time in a meditation, and I went back in time to that place, and I changed the whole scenario so that it didn't happen the way this person said it did. And it just fixed it, and it's gone. You know, this is one thing. If we notice something that comes up, we can go back in time and remove it, get rid of it, change the energy. Look at what we did. How did we do that? Okay, so how did we react? Well, when that happened to me when I was 17, I cut and ran, and I quit doing something that I truly loved because I was so embarrassed. I didn't do anything wrong. It was somebody who hurt me, but I didn't do anything to protect myself or to speak up for myself because I was 17 and scared.
Sure.
So I went in, I relived the whole thing, and I changed its energy and came out absolutely the winner, and did it in a way that was unbelievable, just because I saw it. You know, it comes up to see, to do, to deal with, not to throw back into the bin and say, no, I don't want to look at that today. You know, if we ignore the triggers,
oh yeah,
we don't heal.
yeah.
You know, yeah. And that's a big one right now, because there's a lot of triggers. Oh, so the triggers right now are war, 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 war. It was the other thing. Now it's all war because it's what we're used to. And the powers that are running things in the dark way, they know our regular habits. They know what triggers us, what scares us, what makes us afraid, and what makes us worry about the things that go bump in the night. So the best thing for us to do in this now is to protect ourselves with really big positive energy every day, and then understand that the playbook doesn't work anymore. Right?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. That is a excellent healing suggestions for people.
Yep.
Go into it, be with it, know you're okay. Don't be afraid to hit override. Don't be afraid to be in the pain and the comfort of something, uncomfortability of something, because that is how you blow the smoke and you let it heal and you send it back to the light. And
what has been the biggest thing that we have been taught over the years is to put it away and keep it in the closet.
Sure.
Don't talk about it. Abuse, all the stuff that's happened over the years. Our big thing has been, oh no, you're okay. We don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about something else that feels better. And that is actually been grooming us to get us prepared to be taken over. And we didn't even realize it. Yeah.
Sure.
We didn't even realize, no, I want to talk about the uncomfortable. I want to talk about the discomfort. I want to talk about what ticks me off and what I need to fix, because I'm not going back into that rabbit hole again. And I'm not going back into that place of pretending that everything is okay when it never was. You know, it's time for us to face the facts, face the figures, and understand our own ability in all of it, because we are, you know, we allowed, because we meant to do this. It was all meant to be, and it was meant to be allowed. But the date stamp is gone now. And that's where people are freaking, because the date stamp is gone. The people who haven't awakened yet are freaking. And the reason they are is because they don't understand anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is what they're used to, because they're used to the playbook, and the playbook's gone.
Yeah.
It just is. So it's going to be a period of adjustment where there'll be some, you know, gritty sand between the toes for a while, but then the water will come and wash it all away and make us all feel wonderful again. We just have to get through the grit first, you know?
Yeah. And that whole playbook thing is the exact same thing with God is outside of you. Everything's outside of you. Everything's been going to be told to you. Everything's going to be written so that you can understand it and follow directions. And we're now in a place where you have a blank canvas. Your whiteboard is clear. And most people don't know how to initiate how to start their day and continue to go through it and recreate something.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's interesting,
that's
isn't it,
all
though?
it is. I mean, don't even think of it as a death, rebirth, birthing anew. Think of it as like, hey, I got a do-over. The whiteboard's clean. Now what do I want to do? What did I always say I wanted to feel? How did I want to see the world be? How did I want to see me in the world? and then start thinking and manifesting that, become a master manifester, and you do that through going into the imagination and into the heart center, what feels best, not just for you as an individual, but as you see everyone around you flourishing as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
It's not just one-sided, but it's your playbook. You get to start playing with it.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. The Bible needs to be page one in a blank book. Write your story, manifest, create your life, because this is what you're capable of doing. Now, the other thing that I've seen recently, and this is very big, is that the pineal gland activation is the drop zone. It's the actual spot where your kundalini, your chakras, and your DNA reside.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that's moving upwards is moving upward into the pineal as it's activated, and that's changing the inside of you, because your chakras don't need to be in front of these energy centers. They just really need to be where they belong, where they can just whirl in their lovely little spiral and do what they've got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are changing so much right now. We are capable. I do this every night when I go to bed. If I've got any pain whatsoever, I demand and command the pain goes away. I wake up in the morning with a whole clean slate. What I do to myself each day is up to me. But at least I'm going to bed sleeping peacefully, and I'm saying my body is healed. And I'm just seeing changes every night when I do that. I'm noticing when I get up in the morning, something else is different, but because having been hit by a semi-trailer truck, I have pain that sometimes can be that's why I wiggle a lot, because sometimes something goes into a cramp, or, my back hurts or whatever. But when I go to bed at night, all bets are off and everything gets healed the minute I go to bed, and I sleep peacefully without any pain all night. And believe me, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yes.
So, I feel strongly that the more people can learn their self-healing skills, and the fact that their bodies are changing to crystalline now, everything's changing inside of us. Nothing is what it was. I've even seen a 10-chambered heart. Yes.
Wow.
30 years ago. You feel that, don't you?
Yeah.
Mm.
And the other thing too is every time you work on changing your frequency, you're changing your body chemistry. You're not just like, oh, I just went up a notch. No, you're changing the body chemistry and the notes within that frequency and raising it. And that comes through so many different things. And I just said the other day in a video, you can raise your frequency just by simply opening pathways up to new information.
Mm-hmm.
Just the possibility, instead of this, oh, I don't understand that, shut it down, which is what most people are doing. The cognitive
that mentality,
yeah,
that cognitive dissonance has actually got more strength to it than you can imagine.
Oh yeah.
Because these people are actually in a place where they refuse to learn now.
Mm-hmm.
They can't learn. They follow what they see on TV. They follow what they're told, but they don't learn. They don't absorb. They're busy on their devices. They're busy on their phones. They're so busy, they have forgotten to live. And they're living in a way that is not even very healthy for them, because they're stuck in this way that they can't seem to, living. Go walk in the park, get outside, go find something, go find God out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on here, it's out there. It's there for you to access. Go outside, walk barefoot, put your feet in the water. Even if it's cold, do it, because it grounds you. It connects you to Mother Earth, and it actually can heal you because you're doing something to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting watching TV all day long and not ever paying attention to what's really going on out there, that becomes a very insular little world for someone.
Oh, yes.
And most of them, I will say this, many have become agoraphobic, so they won't leave their houses. So the TV's on 24/7, isn't it?
Yes. And it's always got a news channel on it. And what you were just saying, goes back to, the saying of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I used to say to my grandchildren a couple of years ago, and I go, not old, definitely bring on a new trick. I'll certainly attempt to do it. Don't know how great I'll be at it, but it won't stop me from trying ever.
No.
But yet my parents are so set in their ways.
Yeah.
Everything's scheduled, everything's this, everything's that. And if you say anything outside of this, the book in the box, basically, the
Yeah.
cocoon that gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And yet I'm very different from them and my siblings. And that's just
Yeah.
because I just came in a little more evolved from other lifetimes.
Yeah.
I've earned that through whatever I've done in other lifetimes. I've skilled it, honed it in. And now that I'm here, I'm skilling it and honing it in every day by living it,
But you could have turned your back and
Sure.
not bothered with it when you were a child, like I could have. By the time I was 12, I actually shut it off because I couldn't stand not having a life. I was scared to go to school because I was getting beaten up because I was so weird. So by 12, I shut it down. Then I got popular. I got friends. By the time I had my kids and got into my 30s, I woke it back up again because I wanted to experience. I had two choices in this life. One was to experience somewhat like other people, or the other one was to do what I'm doing now and never ever relate or connect to anyone. I don't really feel that I was supposed to have had children. I wasn't supposed to have gotten married. Many lifetimes. I've only been on Earth 47 times. I've never been here very much. So I come here to do the work. I really harnessed myself to a certain degree, not in a great way, by getting married and having children, because I slowed down the process. But I also know that I needed to feel that because I haven't felt it in a lot of lifetimes. I haven't had a lot of children in a lot of lifetimes, and I haven't had a long-term marriage. I haven't had a lot of anything because I was just so spiritual that I was mostly the guy that sat up in the cave and nobody ever talked to, only came to get medicines. That was me. And that was really kind of lonely.
I can totally relate to all of it.
So, having
But we did
connections.
things to feel to experience because you come in not with one pathway, you come in with many paths you can take. So it's like, man, she turned right. Okay, well, she's got plan B and C and D over there, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I've said that too. I've said I don't think I was ever supposed to get married and have children. I mean, I love my children, definitely not married anymore, but I think so many things were done because it fell into the what we thought we were supposed to do.
Well, I set myself up. I've been married for 46 years this year.
Wow.
I got married at 20. I'm still with the same man, and it's been a challenge. He is a wonderful man. He has had his moments, but he is a great person. And the nice thing about him is I have actually had the chance in a marriage to find myself in a way that he has left me alone to let me do it.
That's awesome.
And it's awesome and odd. It doesn't happen, right? So I managed to get myself a person who, to some degree, understands who I am and does understand that I have work that I have to do, and just trusts me and doesn't interfere with what I do, except when he phones once in a while, but that's okay.
Yeah, but you also know, Julie, that we have our soul tribe, and staying within that soul tribe, you recycle so many times. So maybe when you decide to take this path, they're like, okay, well, we got to put this man in front of her. Okay, soul, here's another soul spirit. You come over here and get in front of Julie, because if she's going to do this, we got to do it this way. So, I mean,
Yep.
And it works many different ways, but.
Well, my life path has been ordained since way before I came here this time. And I knew it'd be big work, and I have been doing big work. And, the interesting thing is there's been 3 attempts on my life since birth to try and stop me. And it's very interesting because none of them have succeeded. The first one was at 5 years old, falling off of a railroad bridge into a river. The second, and I landed on a sandbar. The second one was a bike accident, going over the handlebars, being found in the ditch. I was dead for a bit because I went and found this woman 2 blocks away and made her get out of bed and come and get me, and she did. And the third one was my truck being hit by a semi-trailer truck. So I've had these attempts on my life to stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do, and nothing's stopping me. And my husband is protecting me and making it be so that I can do it. And that he wasn't aware of that contract when we got together, but I was. And he wasn't aware. And it's so funny because years later I said, I've always been protected by dragons. And he's got a big dragon scar right on his chest. He was burned when he was a little child, but with a hot cup of coffee. You know, a baby, you're sitting on someone's lap, and it's a dragon. It's exactly like a dragon, and it looks exactly like a dragon on chest. Not kidding.
Total confirmation there, girly.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know that when, you know, what you're supposed to be doing is being protected, even though there's attempts on your life, you know that you're going to make it. And I always knew that he was there to protect me, and he is. He protects me very well. And because of the work I have to do, but he is powerful. He's powerful beyond words. And he doesn't even know his full power yet. And I can't wait until he wakes up even more, because he's awakening now. But when he wakes up even more, he's going to be amazing. Because, you know, I remember one day we were talking, and he was sharpening a knife. And I remember a past life where I was a priestess in Atlantis, and he slit my throat and killed me because I cheated on him. I was married to him. He was really horrible. Oh, he's a horrible man. In that life, he was this toady little fat man with warts all over him. And I was forced to marry him. So I cheated on him with a good looking young soldier. Who wouldn't, right? So he slit my throat. He slit my throat and he killed me. I call this the rubber match, what we're doing now, because we've killed each other so many times in other lifetimes. And it's so funny because, and I laugh about it because it is funny when you think about it. And he's sharpening this knife, you know, one of his hunting knives. And I looked at him and I said, wow, I said, that's going to be a sharp stone or a sharp blade. And he goes, are you afraid I'll slit your throat again? And I went, you remember that? And he goes, yeah. And a lot of other things. And I said, why don't we talk about it? And he goes, it's private. It's not private. Get out of here. But you know what? You never can assume that the person that you are with is vibrating at a lesser frequency than you are, whether they're awake or not. So that was a good lesson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it makes you understand, okay, there's a reason for everything. And this person is with me for a very strong reason. And I trust that with my whole heart. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just interesting because, you know, many of the things that I've seen 30 years ago are happening now. 25 years ago, I said the world's tipping upside down. And it's been doing it. It's been doing it all along. The things that I've been saying, I said Antarctica is going to have medicines for us like you can't believe. There will be medicines out of Antarctica because it is a very powerful place. There's vortex over it. It's an entry and exit point for many of the ETs, and it's a very powerful center. There is so much healing going to come out of that place. It's going to help so many people you won't believe. And I've seen that years ago, and I've seen it again. So I know that's going to happen too. We're going to have so many wonderful modalities. The native belief is that beside every poisonous plant grows the cure, the antidote. So in the Antarctica, we're going to find a lot of antidotes for a lot of things. And we're going to find a lot of our own personal power will come through because we are awakening, you know, we are awakening. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we talk about a lot about, you know, what's coming and what's going to be here, what will be available for us. Let's talk a little bit about what's tangible now, what people can work with right now in this present moment, because the present moment has been my number one goal now for many years. And especially in March of 2020, it was like present moment is the only place you're going, Sandy. If I reach out there or go back there or go sideways, I have to get put right back in my place and feel and see and experience everything in that moment. So let's talk to our viewers about what we can do right here, right now, today, moving forward, that might be helpful for them.
Well, the first thing is, of course, I said that earlier, is triggers, right? Mm-hmm. The second thing, learn wild crafting. Learn it. I have a book here that I use, and I have it right beside me. This book is called Plants of the Southern Interior, British Columbia. This is where I live. It's written by Parrish, Coupe, and Lloyd. This book exists everywhere in the world. There are medicines every single place that we live. Where I walk, I pick red willow, primrose, horsetail, pine needle, pine bark, choke cherries, hawthorn berry. That's only a little bit of the list of the things that cottonwood. I make cottonwood. I make balm of Gilead, which is made from the cottonwood buds. That heals eczema, psoriasis. It takes pain away. It's an anti-inflammatory. You can use it for diaper rash. Like, it's time for people to learn how to, not to learn. I'm using the wrong word. To remember how to heal themselves with the medicines that grow all around them. And it doesn't matter what city you're in. Every single thing has indigenous medicines that grow. All you have to do is go out of your city and go find something. I'm in my city and I go down to the river and I am finding enough medicine there to look after every ailment on every person. And I'm making them. Yes, I make creams. I make salves. I make teas. I make medicines. Like, if you just go down there and pick the horsetail and dry it, that's natural silica. It naturally fixes your bones, joints, skin, hair, and nails. The primrose, the rose hips, highest vitamin C. Your immune system will never go down. The hawthorn berry and the leaves, you can make tea with, you can make tinctures, and that heals your heart. It's anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. The cottonwood is the balm of Gilead, like I told you about. The red willow bark is anti-inflammatory and pain relieving. It's what they make aspirin out of, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. So choke cherries, it's little tiny choke cherries go black and they're little tiny. They've got a big pit in them. It's full of quinine. You boil that up and make a syrup with it. You don't put any sugar in it. It tastes absolutely delicious. Gets rid of coughs, builds your immune system right up. It'll kill coughs right now. This is where we need to be going. And this is where I am pushing this really hard for people. I'm actually, this spring and this summer and this fall, I'll be teaching some courses here in my city to take people down and show them what they can do to wildcraft and what they can do to help themselves. Because if we don't learn this, because farm is going down.
Oh, yeah.
And when it goes down, what's your replacement going to be for your pain? Did you know that wild lettuce, it looks like a dandelion type of leaf. It's kind of like that, but it's tall. And you break that off and you get this white fluid out of it, stronger than morphine, and does nothing to you. So we have ways that we can do things to heal ourselves. So my feeling on the subject is work on yourself, do everything you can to stay grounded, stay healing yourself, work on your triggers, start learning what is bothering you and how to naturally heal it rather than going to pharma. Because the minute you start taking pharma, it might fix this, but it's going to cause all this to happen. One thing gets fixed and all these other things will happen. If you use natural, everything gets fixed and nothing gets bothered. It's all one, you know?
Yeah, we don't know everything that's in every pill. And we have no idea the long-term effects of any of it. And I mean, some of us have to take it. I'm just saying in general, we bless it, work it, but the wild crafting is really important. I remember my grandmother living on a farm and walking me through the gardens and saying, well, you know, you can eat this and you can eat that. And I was a city girl and she would point to dandelions and I'm like, what? And I was being raised, dandelions were a weed. My father was trying to get them out of the grass and my grandmother was saving them. And so there was at one point in time, I asked my dad, please don't spray anything on this little square of dandelions. And I would just pick them up and just eat them, eat just the tops, the yellow inside. And
that's an amazing liver cleanse, just eating the dandelion. Like, you just can't believe what you can do. But, you know, even so simple, somebody's taking a medication. Okay, so say you're taking some kind of a medication, you're always on it. And you know, okay, so metformin for someone who's got diabetes.
Okay.
Metformin, there is a class action lawsuit against it because of the cancer that it's caused. It causes bowel cancer and it causes liver cancer, both of which killed my father who was on metformin, right? Okay, if you take pycnogenol, which is pine bark, or you go pick some pine needles and make some tea with it, you're literally going to heal your liver and your kidneys, and then the medication won't hurt you so much.
Yeah.
So there's that to learn too. It's not just go learn the wildcrafting, because you do have people who are going to have to transition from medications to natural ways. But while they're transitioning, they've got to learn side effects. They've got to learn, you know, what this is affecting in my body. You have no idea. Like, people who take acid reflux medication have no idea it's destroying their kidneys and their bladder. They have no idea. It causes cancer too. There's just all kinds of things that it does, but they have no idea. And so they don't understand they can use apple cider vinegar, baking soda, aloe vera juice. They don't need that stuff. They don't need acid reflux medication. They survive beautifully on reducing the size of their meals. Don't eat before they go to bed, and take apple cider vinegar, baking soda, or aloe vera juice, inner fillet. We don't use aloe vera juice unless it's inner fillet, because it actually will harm your kidneys, because it has something called aloe latex, and that's harmful for your kidneys. But aloe vera inner fillet is amazing, and you wouldn't believe it'll heal an ulcer, it'll heal stomach cancer, it'll do all kinds of things. But we just have to start learning, what it is, because we have been pharmaceutically overdosed for so long.
Oh, we've been programmed.
Mm-hmm.
Been programmed that that's the only way to go, and that's all of our that's all the doctors are indoctrinated with.
Yes.
Is how many scripts can you write an hour, and how accurate can you be in writing them?
And how many vegetables do you eat a day? How many vegetables do people eat a day? I eat 7 to 12 because I know that I have to.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps me healthy. I eat a lot of kale. I eat a lot of spinach, a lot of cabbage, a lot of vegetables. I made a stir fry yesterday with so many vegetables in it. I lost count. There were so many. And this is the thing is we think that it's okay for us to take this pill. If you eat that kale, that's going to give you all the iron you need. That's going to give you all the bowel movement you need. It's going to give you all the energy you need. Oh, that was another one. I was going meditating the other night. I found out why people started eating meat. It was not something people did. You know that? I was gifted this movie thing. I see movies of everything.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I saw this, and it was about meat. And how did people actually start eating meat? And how they did was, I saw these two fellas walking around in the wood. They were not primitive either. So, you must understand the cavemen are not from primitive humankind. They were genetically modified during the Lemurian age. They were not anything but regular people who had been merged with things like they've been doing on our planet now, right? And that ended the age. So we're at that pace right now. We're at that pivotal place where we end the age, right? So eating meat. I saw these two people walking down in this valley, and they came upon a dead carcass. They were both starving, and the carcass was kind of grossed out and kind of rotting. But they were so hungry, they didn't know what to do, and they knew they only ate meat. But the one said, "Well, I'm really hungry. We can't get home. We're too hungry." So they cut off all the dead meat and they ate it raw, and they felt better. They had energy, and they walked home. So then they tried a few days later to kill an animal because they wanted to eat the meat again. They killed an animal, and it bled, and they were deeply disturbed. They were deeply disturbed because they realized it bled like they did, and it hurt them so badly. So they were so upset, not for long though, because they threw the meat into the fire and it cooked, and the blood went away, and they ate it. The blood was gone, you see. They thought, oh, the blood's gone, it's okay. So the blood is a thing, isn't it? And this is how humans started to eat meat, because they had no idea that they could. They thought the beasts. Now, on the first page of the Bible, it says, we have dominion over the beasts, the cows, the horses, the chickens. And then, okay, dominion doesn't mean eat them, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No, but we got that a little wrong.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that was then and this is now, and a day late and a dollar short. We've done it. We've made our mistakes. Should we eat a lot of meat? No. Can we cut back on some? Yes.
Yes.
2 or 3 times a week is the best thing to do. That's all I ever do, is maybe 2 or 3 times a week. When I'm starting to feel a little tired, I have a little bit of meat or fish, but I don't eat any red meat. I only eat chicken, turkey, and fish. And the reason is digestion. It doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
When John Wayne died, they found 12 pounds of undigested beef in his bowels.
Wow.
He died of bowel cancer. Beef takes 72 hours to digest and doesn't digest well in our bodies. Just doesn't. It's not too compatible with us. Unfortunately, it's not. And it's turned into be the biggest business around because of, how much money they can make off of it. But really, it's harmful for us, just like milk is, if you think about it,
Well, notice how when people go to change, a new diet comes out where you're like, oh, you need to be more meat and fat and less this and less that. And you're like, yeah, how's that working out for you? And now after like a year of one of those big diets with a big K, yeah, they're finding, they're having the kidney overload, they're gaining weight, their cholesterol's gone up, blah, 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 blah. And now they're rethinking it.
Yep. That diet in its concept isn't a bad one if it has more variety.
Yes, but it doesn't.
No. And
there's too many right and wrongs, and the rights are dictated, and yet your mind goes, what? I mean, that's a whole different kind of fat in there than there is in vegetables and
it's just not, it's not for us. It's not for us. There are ways to do things, and there are good ways to do things that have been done for many thousands of years by many cultures. And for some reason or other, when North America and Europe settled, and Australia and New Zealand, we all went into this terrible diet, and it was like, why? Because it was planned. It's all been part of this plan, this huge big plan to get us to be sprayed. Okay, polio is not a disease.
Right.
It is a normal. It's not. It was because, and I remember getting sprayed in the 50s. Do you know that?
I'm just a couple years younger than you. I don't remember that, but I remember the polio was in a sugar cube when I was about 5.
Yep, they gave us a little pink drink when they did it. But the thing is that they sprayed the children in the 40s and the 50s with DDT.
Yes.
What do you think that was going to do?
Yeah.
That's what caused polio. Polio is not a disease, childhood disease. It's actually something that was a construct of people spraying children with this stuff. And it happened. So then I was meditating the other night, and okay, let's go down to the Black Plague. How'd that happen? They said rats, right?
Yes.
I looked at it, arsenic and mercury poisoning. And guess what? I looked them up. I meditated it, because anytime I meditate, I always go and look up what I've got, because I want to make sure I've got a confirmation. And I looked it up. And mercury and arsenic poisoning is the exact same symptoms as the Black Plague. But
isn't that what they feed rats and rat poisoning?
Yeah, but they didn't have back then. Their arsenic wasn't something that they could, this is in the 14 and 1500s. They never had that stuff. They created it later. But you got to realize the powers that be, the elites, they knew they wanted to get rid of people. There were too many people in the cities. They were too dirty. They ate with wooden utensils. They managed to poison them. They put it in the water system. They killed them. Yeah. Mercury, mostly. It was mostly mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're dealing.
Getting into into all the wild crafting. And what else would you suggest that our viewers could bring into this moment to help them to be better, their cells to flourish, their bodies to flourish, to stay in a better frequency?
Well, I would ask I would actually suggest they remove their reptilian brain, because that needs to come out, and that will take fear away. Once you remove that, the fear goes away. Because what we're seeing is a lot of people are in a lot of fear right now. So it's mostly stay away from crowds, for one thing, if you can, because the crowds have that energy in them, which is hard around right now. It's very frenetic and very frightened. So I would try and stay away from too much of the public eye, and I would do everything on the inside right now. Healing self, eating well, exercising, taking walks, getting out in nature, doing your wild crafting, learning about it. Find someone who can help you to learn about it, because it's going to be the biggest wave at a certain point very shortly. That is something that's going to be coming quite shortly, because we're going to see a lot of all that other stuff just kind of fall away from the system. And as it does that, it's already happening. And as that happens, you're going to see there's, make your grapefruit and your lemon drink, make your own quinine, make your own ivermectin, create it, make your own, make your own medicines so that you can learn how to keep yourself healthy. And I know this works because I've been doing it for years, and I can't remember the last time I've even had a cold. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the last time. It's been that many years. So as far as I'm concerned, looking after ourselves is the most important thing. And that was so interesting, because back in the day when John Paul, the Pope, passed away, I actually channeled to him and I asked him, what message have you got for the people? His message was, don't become religious.
Of course.
Because this is posthumous, right? He's not a creep anymore. Don't become religious. Understand that anyone who is telling you how to do things is not on your side. And work on healing yourself from the inside out and talk to God from the inside. Don't do it from the outside.
Mhm.
And that goes right back to Jesus when he said, don't go into the temples like the heathens do. Go into thy secret self. Thy
Mhm.
secret self is where you got to go to get you where you got to go, to help you with healing, to help you to be strong, to help you to be able to function throughout this. Because the biggest secret is you inside. That
Yes.
is the biggest secret. And if we don't realize it, then everything's out there around us, not in us.
Mhm.
Until we understand it, it all becomes in us. You see? And that's where we want to be, is to be inside of ourselves, so that we are actually doing the work on ourselves to get us to where we've got to go into this next level that's coming. Because the preparation time is just heal yourself. That's all it is. The
Yeah, and
preparation.
I think that's also what puts you and I in a different category, because we're not here telling people what to do, what datelines, this, and that, predicting, feeding into the fear, saying the same things everyone else is saying. We're trying to teach you how to empower yourself. Just
Yep.
give you some tools and some information, let it
Yep.
resonate through you, find your inner power with it, take what you need from it that nourishes you now, put the rest over here. You may come back to it. It may not work for you, but we're not here to dictate. Now, I want to address something you said about the crowds and the fear and the reptilian brain. And, for me, I feel like I have been so isolated the last couple of years. I mean, I was
Yep.
working 50, 60 hours a week in cosmetic sales, driving everywhere to like baboom. And I was so thrilled to have the time to work on myself. But now I feel like Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day. And I'm like, and I've moved and I've packed my suitcase and I'm like ready to go as soon as Spirit gives me the word. And, there's been like, where are my tribes? Where are my people? Where's my social time? Kind of thing. And then I've had to go back to, thank you for this time to really go within. And it forces you to do that. You can either sit here and bitch and complain about not having things to do, or you can say, the thing to do is work with me and go there. And so I've been so grateful with that. But then you mentioned something about the reptilian brain. So would you suggest commanding, giving
Oh,
command
absolutely.
for it to go bye-bye as graceful as possible, so you don't have any
I
um
actually have a whole thing written up about it, and I share it all the
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
So I'll share it with you,
Okay.
and you can share it on your page, because it is really powerful. And I actually, if you feel the back of your head, some people will feel back there and it's kind of pulpy. If you
Mm-hmm.
can feel back there, the minute you tell it to go, it goes flat bone. It
Yeah.
literally you have a physiological reaction from it, because the reptilian brain resides right there at that back of your head, where it's just like that. And it also resides in the heart and the stomach and in the reproductive organs. So you want to demand and command that it leaves everywhere, and you remove all reptilian, as well as any demonic implants, dark energies, negative entities, dark symbols and icons, anything, because you have no idea what has been put inside of you. And believe me, it has. So we are a construct of God. We are.
Yes.
But in the last 450,000 years, we have been a construct of the reptilians and the Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
And the Anunnaki are not bad. They're actually not bad. They're gods. And they're the same gods that resided over every single culture. So you've got 12 or 13 gods who were, and that number is important, who were like the Gaelic gods, the Asian gods, the Australian Aboriginal gods, the Maori gods, the African gods, the North American Indian gods, the Greek gods, the Roman gods, the Norse gods, all the same gods. They just had different names. You remember the movie Stargate?
Yes.
True story.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they really did travel around to the different areas, once a month in the 13 moon year. They traveled around to all the different areas to go and be benevolent and show the people how they needed to heal themselves. And they were giants, and we were giants. Like, we were giants too. So,
Yeah, I've been getting like visions of that lately, and like I see things like movies too.
yeah.
And so they've been showing me like like portal tunnels, and they're going through them, and then the light is shining, and then they're coming out, and it's been fantastic. Well, one of the things I would add to working with the energies right now is really understand that you are God source light, and
Yep.
pulling in that God source light in, if you know, the holy colors, if you want to do whatever it is that you choose to do. I personally do, you know, the Holy Father with the blue, the Holy Mother with the pink, joining in with the golden Christos Sophia. And I bring that through my body, just bathing my body in that light, and then sending it down into the core of Mother Earth, and mixing with every nanoparticle of the core of Mother Earth, and sending it all back out, but coming back up through my Earth Star chakra, all the way up through my body, bathing, and going out. And then asking that all things that do not serve to just be bathed, to simply be bathed, and to carry that light in a way that shares the God source frequency.
Yep.
To others without even a word being said, just to know that I'm carrying it. You're all automatically carrying it, but when you put a command to it or you bring it to the forefront, you're amplifying its energy. Yeah. And yeah. So I've been doing that for a lot of years, and especially a lot more now. So these are some things that our viewers can definitely be doing now while we're working on bringing things from, forward. And
another thing that I do,
suggest?
Another thing that I do, and I do this every night because I've had a lot of attacks, demonic attacks, since I've been doing my work. And I haven't had any for a long time because I'm pretty protected, and I think many of them have been vanquished already, and some of them have been turned and they're working for us now, which is good. Which is really good because they're actually turned into about what they really are. So some of the biggest, darkest demons that have been used by the darkness are now bat fairies, and they're just lovely, and they're working with us. So, and they're happy, so happy to have been returned to what they are. So basically they showed me their shape change from being like Moloch to a bat fairy. Moloch, big, ugly, nasty bastard, to a bat fairy who is all purple and green and beautiful eyes and beautiful big wings, and is helping me with like you can't believe. So this is really amazing stuff. And so one of the things that I say is to work with yourself, to protect yourself every night, because there are a lot of things out there that are not looking after you to the highest good. So what you do is when you get into bed is you surround yourself with a true blue source and gold mesh, impermeable mesh around your whole house, around all the people that you love. I actually expand it and put it over top of every person on the planet who's got a soul. Because to me, that's really important, because we are one. So we all want to care about each other. So I do care. And I want to make sure that everybody is receiving the benefit of safety. So I'm doing the best I can to protect everyone. And this is what we want to do, is make sure we've got protections working so that everybody is safe, because your nightmares are where they like to come and feed off of you. And so let us not allow that. Let us make sure that when we go to bed at night, because people just go to bed, and then they go, man, I had such a bad dream last night. It was such a bad dream. I just can't believe it.
It's so normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And they don't need that. They don't need that bad dream. What they want to do is go to bed with intent. That's what I feel. Go to bed with intent to heal the planet, heal the people. And then with the intent that you are doing the work that you're meant to be doing. And you don't have to remember it, because I always say, even Hitler went to heaven. Do you know that? You know why? Because he came through with his life contract. He did it. It was a gross contract, but he did it. Idi Amin, King Leopold, they all went to heaven because they all did what they were supposed to do. And that was, now think about this, King Leopold killed 10 million Black people in South Africa for rubber, right? Hitler killed all those people because he was a terrible man. Idi Amin killing all those people, genocide. Yeah. Now, when you think about
Alexander the Great,
what does that do to humankind when they hear about this stuff? They get upset, right? We get upset. That's why the deep state has made such a good bit of fun over all of these trials and all of this stuff that's going on the TVs, because they know we get upset. They know that we feel and they don't. So don't watch it, one thing. But the other thing is
Well, it's
transmute
entertainment
energy.
for them when they see us going through that.
Yep. So take control over what you're doing. Take control over how you do it. Bless yourself. Bless your house. Protect your space. Protect yourself from darkness. And you will start to find that your sleep is better. You'll start to find that you feel more peaceful during the day. You don't feel like there's somebody just watching you from around that corner over there, because they are, you know. If we don't look after ourselves, then we get looked after in ways that we maybe don't want.
Right.
So this is the big clue here, is take your power, be in it, be strong, be looking after your energy, be protecting yourself at all levels, no matter what you do. You know, it's like when you go in the car. Do you ever say when you get in the car, I'm safe, no accidents, I'm happy, I'm getting where I got to go and it's all good? People don't. And then they don't understand, oh, geez, I had an accident. You know, sometimes you can't stop an accident. Mine, I couldn't. I had several times that I could, when I did stop it and it finally got me, but it was supposed, because I was supposed to have had that happen.
Right.
I spent a month with God. So it was very, very powerful.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you have control over what you're doing in your life. You just don't know it. You don't know it because you've never, ever been told that you do have it. You know, you can look at someone right in the face and they can be yelling at you and mad at you. And you can look at them right in the face and go, I love you. I don't agree with you. And that's okay. Walk away. You don't have to fight. You don't have to trigger. That's exactly what I do now. I don't trigger to anything. I'm not fighting. I'm not getting mad. I'm not getting angry about anything. I'm just staying grounded and focused. And that's what all of us need to do right now.
Yes.
More than anything. And that is the biggest message. And it is also the message that nobody wants to hear.
Well, yeah, I have to take responsibility for it. What? No, let somebody else do it. It really does boil down to whether you believe anything that Julie and I are saying or not. If any part of it resonates, or how about just trying to set your intention and trying the powers of protection and then seeing how you feel in a few days. For me, I have a lot of visitors at night, and there are a lot of visitors here in the observance. They're observing, but they don't really understand if they're disturbing you. And I've had many where I wake up and the little orb is like right there. There's a face, and it got to the point where so much was happening in February that I literally was just, things were just not of my energy. I just couldn't compute. Things were getting scattered that I literally had to say, I guess about 10 days ago, my boundaries at night. Okay, if you want to observe, that's one thing. No one interferes with my sleep, no one. And then I do my protections and things like that. And so far, everyone's listening.
Yep. You know how you say keep it spiritually simple?
Yeah.
I like that. I love that. And the reason I do, I've said that for years myself, like 30 years I've said that. But you know what's really funny about that? When you are doing your spiritual work, you don't have to go into the big long diatribe and words and blah, blah, blah. All you do is keep it spiritually simple. Say,
Yes.
Protect me now. I'm loved. I'm this, I'm that. Don't make it too wordy. I went one time to listen to this man speak. And the other man, who it was his house, he stood up there and he said, well, before he speaks, I have to do an invocation. A half an hour later, we're still sitting there listening. But it was so funny because I was talking to my friend Mark, who was there with me. And I said, look at that. I said, all the angels got here and now they left.
And they're like, this didn't have to take so long.
Because he was so much into what he was in ego. It was ego. And he loved the sound of his voice. He loved what he was saying. And he was just, so much eloquent. And it was like, oh my God, I literally almost fell asleep too. But it was so funny because I watched them all leave. I watched them leave because they're like, okay, well, this is nothing. We're not coming around. They're not even interested in all the long, I'm sure there's not one single master or archangel that goes to the churches and listens to all that. I'm sure there isn't, because there's just lots of long-winded stuff, It doesn't need to be.
Just listen to the messages that they give us. They're so ridiculously simple that we want to complicate it by going, come on, really? It's that easy,
Yeah.
So my thing was always keep it simple, Sandy. And then I went back to one of my journal books from a long time ago, and I saw that and I went, That's what I got to start doing. And I have more signs being made for different things, but it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be.
No.
You can take a 5-minute meditation. You can take 30 seconds to lock in and just amplify your God source energy.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out, words you can't pronounce, complicated thing.
Yeah, and even self-healing. I was standing in my kitchen the other day and I was making a big meal because I had friends coming for dinner and my back was hurting. So I'm standing in the kitchen. I went, stop hurting now, back. It did. We don't have to do this big long prayer or this big long invocation or whatever. We can just make it as simple as we want to. Yeah. I teach people, bless your food, do it in a spiral over your food. I bless this with the true blue source. All it is not necessarily leaves my body painlessly. So it is. For a little kid, I go, tee hee hee, this is good for me. Right?
I love it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all your intent. It's what you intend. If you've got the light idea to how you intend it, then it goes where it's supposed to go. And it doesn't have to be this big, long, thing where all the spirits will arrive and then walk away because now they're bored to shit. It's just ridiculous. So let's keep it simple. Keep it simple as much as you can. You've got the right message there. It's perfect. And, but definitely work on self, and don't ever think that you've got boundaries around yourself. You can do whatever you want to do. A lot of people think, well, I can't do that. The minute you say I can't do that, you really can't do it.
That's right.
You just talked yourself into it. You can talk yourself out of anything you want to just by having a different feeling on it or a different vision. So, right now, this is a time where the world is really frightened of what's going on. Everybody's scared. Stay grounded, stay centered, stay self-healing, stay focused. And don't go out there and all that, because it's not your friend anymore. Not right now. Your friend is to stay in your home. Excuse me, my tummy. You stay in your home and do your meditations, do your self-healing, go out walking. Try and be in nature as much as you can right now, because there's no more important place for you to be. When it gets warmer, take your shoes off, because that grounds you. It actually brings vibration of the earth up through your feet into you. So that really is good for you. Putting your feet in the water, having a cold shower. Good God, it has a lot of really good healing tendencies for you. It actually shuts down some of the nerve endings that are bothering on people.
Oh, yeah. And also keep your sense of humor. When I bless my food, I always say something like, may all the nutrients support my body and what doesn't leave. And then if I'm eating a piece of pie or a piece of candy, I'll say, and then you're going to need to leave really quickly. It's like, and you're going to need to leave sooner than that's going to need to leave. And you just make it fun. Just laughter is the best way to adjust everything.
It's a little bit of a gross story, but 30 years ago, I was lying in bed and I'd gone out for dinner and we'd had Caesar salad at this restaurant. And it was the worst Caesar salad I ever had in my life. I don't know.
We had the raw egg.
Oh, and it had MSG, and it was so bad that when I was lying in bed, my stomach was just swirling. It was just killing me. And I'm lying there and I'm like, oh my God. So I called the energy and I said, okay, take this lettuce, move it down into my intestines now without digestion. I would like it to move painlessly out of me now.
And you went right then.
Yeah. Only lettuce. Lettuce.
That's how fast power can work, people.
But it was just straight lettuce. There was nothing else. That's how
hilarious.
Powerful that is. I know. I was shocked, but I know that it works, because once you've learned it and you start realizing, you're like, oh my goodness, I can really manifest and create in a positive way whatever I want to. So now what am I creating in a negative way that I don't want to because of my thought processes and my energy? Am I actually looking at things in a negative way when I don't desire to? Can I look at this and go, oh, I really have to change what I'm thinking, like something you can say, oh, that makes me sick. That just makes me sick that they said that. But what'd that just do to you?
Make you sick.
Yep. I can't stand this. Then your ankle goes over, right? Yeah. We don't understand the use of the words. And as we are realizing, as days are going by, we are losing more and more words aren't we? We're just losing words.
Well, we're making up our own dictionaries. I know I do every day. I make up new words every day and I go, I don't know where that came from, but I like it.
Yep.
I'm not going to
And
apologize for it.
we could come up with our own, couldn't we? But
Yes.
you know, reality, these words have got issues. Even the word spell, spelling,
Yeah.
you're spelling. You're not checking to see if that word is put together right. You're actually making spells with it. So what we don't understand is that the words have spells to them. So when someone says, you don't look very well today, it immediately spells you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then you go, oh, don't I? Then I go look at myself in the mirror and I go, I don't look very well. I'm getting sick. And then I get sick because I just got
Sure.
talked into it.
Sure.
Okay, what if I look in the mirror and I go, geez, I look well today. I feel healthy today. I'm happy today. Someone says you don't look very good. I say, oh, geez, that's funny. I feel great, because I don't let them do that to me anymore. I used to buy into it, but now I don't.
Oh, I hear you.
Nope. Now I just say, no, that's your stuff. That's not mine. I'm good.
Well, especially
Don't
when
put
it's
yours on me.
especially when it's the people closest to you that feel like, oh, I'm going to give you the truth. And it's like, but that's how you might feel. Maybe I felt A-okay how that is. And then you just dump that crap on me. It's like, I don't think so,
And they walk away feeling great. And you're like, oh, because they just got rid of it, didn't they? And
yeah, I was just at a family function not too long ago. And I think my mom or somebody said, oh, I like your hair lighter. I didn't like it darker. And instead of me getting defensive and going anything, I just smiled. And I think the person that said it went, what? And I said, well, did it matter that you liked it or not? How about how I felt about it? And that was all that got said. But it was lifetimes of hearing, oh, I don't like it like that. I don't like this. I don't like that. And I just take it. And then now it doesn't even faze me. But when I just smiled back, it was like, what's the smile for? And it's like, well, what does it matter if you didn't like it? I liked it. And then the look back was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way.
Of course you didn't. No,
because you're too busy pointing at everyone else,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this has been wonderful. And I think that our viewers are getting a little bit of interesting information, as well as some things that they can do for themselves today. And we're going to do this again because there's a lot of things coming in March and a lot of things coming in April. And I cannot encourage each and every one of us to really, truly stop, drop, sit, connect with that breath. Keep things as simple as you can.
Yeah.
Ask your body what it needs. Go out in nature and start, with the wild crafting things. Until you get a book, look up a couple online and indigenous to your area. And then just go out and just make it fun. If you have kids, just go out and start picking out different mushrooms or different berries or different this, and start having fun with it. And as you begin to increase that creativity of wanting to actually go further with it, making salves, herbs, drying things, making teas. So it's such an excellent suggestion.
Yeah. And if you want to PM me and ask me about anything, I'll certainly help you.
Yes.
Because it's a big thing for me. It's a very, very dear to my heart.
Yes. And Julie's links will be in the description. It'll also be posted on. And tell us about your group.
Oh, Mind, Body, Spirit Healing Group. And then Mind, Body, Spirit Healing Kitchen Remedies and Recipes, which we have a lot of herbology, a lot of recipes that are natural and good recipes for you. We're constantly working on, because I'm a firm, strong knower that it's not just spiritual, it's all four bodies. We have to look after all of it. So,
yes,
I feel that it's necessary we look after every part of ourselves. It's really important. Yeah.
Yes. And then also Julie comes on live on her show. So look for those. Join her on Facebook, and I'll have the links below. In the meantime, stay put for a second. So much love to each and every one of you. And we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.